Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back to your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Hedera and Hbar. So with that being said, I hope that you are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are out there in the world. I'm recording this a little bit ahead of the FOMC meeting, so volatility hasn't hit the market just yet. But I will say this. I want to just say a huge thank you to everyone that has been continuously watching the channel and supporting the channel, even during the bear market. Listen, I'm going to be making content during the bull or even the bear market, keeping you guys up to date on all the news regarding crypto, and really kind of giving you guys my thought process on everything that is unfolding before our eyes, because again, this is a very significant change happening that will affect everyday life. And it all starts with, DLT, blockchain, Hashgraph technology, things like that. So I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone that has been supporting the channel since day one, and even, all the newcomers as well. Guys, I appreciate it so damn much. We have been growing so fast. It's been crazy to say the least. So just want to say huge thank you to all of you. With that in mind, let's take a look at a few things. So again, like I said, short term, we could see some volatility on the price chart, but I'm looking at this thing on the weekly, and man, it is beautiful to watch how Hbar has been really kind of growing. Since the beginning of October, essentially, it's been up only. And if you actually go all the way back to roughly the December of 2022 timeframe, so a whole year ago, basically, we have been up only on Hbar, which is very exciting. And one thing that I even said, and this is actually even addressing Casper as well, is that we've been seeing these higher lows forming on the chart. And guess what? With this recent break, we have seen a higher high form, because what we've seen was a high here, a high here, and a high here. But this was all lower highs. Now we are starting to break this structure and creating higher highs. Now, a big thing to watch for is Hbar to actually break out of this significant resistance zone. Breaking over 8.5 cents will be a big moment for Hbar, because one, it allows us to create a higher high minus the high from February. What this will give us is the opportunity to tap this level yet again and try to break over 10 cents. Breaking over 10 cents will be a big moment for Hbar on the price chart, because it allows us to go to 15 to 18 cents. And yes, I do believe that that is the next level after we break out of the 10-cent zone. Now, obviously, this is more short term. Long term, guys, obviously the price is going to go much higher than that. I've been talking to you guys about it. I've been addressing it as well. And with that in mind, I hope that kind of gave you guys a little bit of an insight on my thought process on the Hbar chart. I have been outlining some short-term movements on Hbar, even in the private Discord and in the Patreon group. But with that being said, let's dive on in and let's talk about a few things around Hedera. So we have been seeing migration happening around Hedera. I've been addressing all of the big updates that we have seen from the Hbar Foundation, and guys, it's insane. I mean, if we're talking about channel growth, let's talk about Hedera growth. I mean, every single day we are seeing an update after update after update. Again, this is why I have been making Hbar content a lot more, because it's been nothing but constant updates from the team. And I quoted this and I said, the great migration continues. All roads lead to the most efficient, Hbar. Because what we've seen was, well, VR Jam. They migrated from Polygon to Hedera. And there's been so many of these big projects coming over to the Hedera scene because of the efficiencies. And I'm very excited for this, because again, this is almost like metaverse-like live events. And again, this is a big thing, because we've been seeing a lot of these types of events happening around big brands, like even Fortnite, for an example. So I do think that this is something that will have a lot of retail demand in it. And I think that this is very exciting to see it being built out within Hedera. Again, we've been seeing these big migrations happening almost every single day as well. Go back just this year. I mean, we have been seeing a flood of developers and projects coming from all other blockchains and other networks coming over to Hedera because of the efficiencies. Another notable one just recently this year was back in August. And this is with MasterCard. For example, from Rob Allen, we do see, great to see this launch today. It has been a very smooth migration off MasterCard's Providence onto Hedera. Well done, FSCO. And we just talked about FSCO yesterday, actually. Again, all of these major players, it doesn't even have to be Ethereum. It doesn't have to be Polygon. It doesn't have to be Cardano. It doesn't have to be anything. It could very well be MasterCard's private blockchain, which again should show you the significance behind Hedera. Also, another big one to note was AnySeed. So congratulations, AnySeed NFT, for the successful migration from Ethereum to Hedera. This was back in May. And again, it was due to the efficiencies and how green Hedera actually is. When we talk about the future of this space, I'm sure that you guys are probably all aware of it, especially if you watch other HBAR creators in the space. Then you should probably know that the future around the space is not Ethereum. It's not Bitcoin. It's going to be the most efficient DLT out there. I know that I could sound a little bit biased because I'm an HBAR holder, but I also hold a ton of other projects as well. But if you go back to my earlier videos from 2021 and hear the way that I was talking about Hedera then, my thought process has not changed. In fact, I probably became even more bullish on Hedera in the time from 2021 to now. If I focused only on price action, obviously I would be a little bit bearish, but for the most part, we have seen Hedera grow into an absolute monster in the last 2 years. I mean, from practically having no builders on the network to having a massive ecosystem of new projects coming onto the network every single damn day, it's been very exciting. I just have to be honest with you guys. And the migration continues, right? Bank Social, which is a big one around decentralized banking, they moved from Binance to Hedera. And again, it was due to efficiencies. And then also over here, Astronova, which is an RPG game, they moved from Ethereum to Hedera. And this was back in January. Like I said, the migration has been happening since, January, and even prior to that. Back in 2021, we were talking about a lot of players that were jumping from Ethereum over to Hedera. And that's when it initially started. And that's when, my focus was really on Hedera fully at that point. And then, of course, Mint, back in March of this year, moved from Ethereum over to Hedera. And all of these projects have something very well in common. Have you noticed it? One, they either incorporate retail heavy, or two, they incorporate the idea of why they moved from these specific networks. It's not just because of the efficiencies, but it's because of the services and the solutions that Hedera actually offers. Obviously, the efficiencies are a big thing as well, but when we look at the future of Web3, I've always said that Hedera is becoming a pioneer around the Web3 economy. The infrastructure layer for Web3 needs something like Hedera that is not only scalable, but it's also very green, it's very efficient, it's cost effective. This is something that we don't see in this space. I've seen somebody note Ethereum transaction fees. And it's funny because at a time in the space, and I just noted this again, I recently talked a little bit about it. I was talking about the trends, right? Like here's Hedera, for example, right? Interest is at an all-time low because of the bear market. But I was responding to Max Walker Williams because he was talking a little bit about Bitcoin trends and how Bitcoin trends is starting to kind of pick up a little bit, but he was basically saying that Bitcoin was dead. Obviously, no hate or anything like that towards Max. I was just basically saying, like, at this point in time, retail doesn't really care about crypto. And it is true, right? But what's crazy is cryptocurrency trends right now, even around the retail sector, is at an all-time low, which means transactions on Ethereum aren't really picking up a ton. I mean, obviously, there is a lot of growth there. But what's crazy is I seen the note around the transaction fees on Ethereum. And usually transaction fees on Ethereum, when there's a lot of use, skyrocket. But if they're this high, because I think like the transaction fee was like over like $100 or something like that to transact like $50. It was insane. But if the transaction fees are that high, when there's practically barely any usage and there's practically like zero interest from the retail sector. Imagine being an enterprise grade user trying to tap into Ethereum when you see a ton of demand on the network. Transaction fees would most likely be 2, 3, 4, 5 times the actual transaction, whatever value of it you're trying to transact. It's probably going to be like 5 times the amount, which is extremely inefficient. This is why I say Hedera's next level. And a lot of these players in this space, when you're comparing them to Ethereum or Bitcoin, they're going to be game changers. But when you look at Hedera, and specifically if we go back to this chart and you look at how green it is, not versus all of these other players in this space, but when you look at it versus like Visa or even MasterCard, that's where you start to see the significance, because these are real world networks. That's how next level Hedera actually is. Now, also within this, Toko, which is a huge tokenization engine. This is a game changer. We've been addressing them for a while. When they initially integrated onto the Hedera network, that's when everything started to kind of change, and that's where everyone started to kind of see the vision come to life. But a lot of people did not read the challenge here, which was Ethereum and alternative public blockchains proved to have expensive and unpredictable fees, sluggish transaction speeds, forking, and unfair transaction offering. They required a public DLT that offers native tokenization with speed, cost effectiveness, and compliance. They also required the ability for permissioned blockchain framework transactions to be timestamped and publicly verifiable. Again, the solution was Hedera. I bring this up because, like I said, the vision was already there back in 2021. Now we're starting to see people pick up on the idea on how disruptive and how big of a movement Hedera will be going into the next cycle. Diamond Standard is another one back in October of 2022 that really seen this value as well. They moved from Ethereum over to Hedera, and they actually even put out a full update on the benefits of Hedera, where they even talked about how fast it was, how cheaper it was, how safer it was. They said that it was 10 times faster than Ethereum. Beyond that, cheaper as well, and safer. When we talk about the significance of this, when we look at how big Ethereum is right now, over the course of the next few years, I do think that Hedera could definitely be in the top 5. And the reason why I say that is not because, I'm giving you guys hope or anything like that. No, I think that Hedera could be in the top 5 in the next few years because enterprise adoption is only going to continue to heat up. And if we're already starting to see major migration from all these other networks over to Hedera, imagine what's going to happen in the future. And another note as well, from Crypto Troll over on X. This was back in November. I actually remember making this video as well. It was talking about Empower Pay. So they integrated Hedera to enable fiat payments by tenants across Africa. Now, again, they were originally utilizing Cardano. And I should have noted in the video because I didn't, and I do apologize, but they're still using Cardano. But they are tapped in with Hedera for tracking and tracing transactions due to its efficiency, security, and transparency. Now, a few other people did respond back to this. For example, Rakesh, I hope that I'm saying that name correctly, developers from Cardano are actually moving to Hashgraph. And here we have this expansion enhances Empower Pay functionality without detracting from existing Cardano-based operations, positioning Empower as a dynamic player in the ever-evolving blockchain landscape. Now, again, what's interesting about this is how Cardano was not able to be the only player here. Again, collaboration is crucial, but it just shows you how Hedera needs to be tapped in on almost all fronts because of how efficient it is and what it can offer. And again, in a lot of these areas where it's like low poverty, right? These individuals can't utilize Ethereum. They can't utilize these networks that are going to charge them astronomical fees. So having something like Hedera that has predictable fees, or well, I shouldn't even say predictable. It's a one-time fee that you know what you're going to be paying. That's a game changer, especially when you go over to Hedera and you can go right here to the overview section and you can see how much you're going to be paying in fees utilizing the network. You're talking about, a fraction of a penny. This is a game changer. And I don't think that people realize that although, yes, we're starting to see a ton of transactions on the network, I want you guys to realize that it's not creating value yet for the token because it's so cost effective to utilize the network right now. But that's why it gets me very excited for mass adoption of these networks, because when we do see that and we're starting to see HBAR doing 1 billion transactions a day, that's going to be very exciting. And that's where we start to see real value really pushing HBAR as a token as well. Because remember, HBAR is utilized on the network as a dual role. It is network fuel, and it also provides network protection as well. And again, HBAR is utilized heavily within Hedera. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Peace out.